put you in my sights.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Elite POV, where it's podcast time, and you know what that means. I'm your host, Phil Cataldo, but you can call me Philium, alongside the King of Talk Style, Anthony Stefano. What is up?
What is going on? First off, what an amazing week in AEW. And my God, you guys were there. Jade Cargill, I'm just sweating already thinking about the dominant performance that she had. And I'm sweating thinking about Wednesday night, Arthur Ashe. AEW is giving us a free pay-per-view
with 4 hours.
With Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. This is real life. It's not like a video game. Like, this is crazy. It's gonna be the biggest week in wrestling in quite some time.
And our other co-host, the Draw, Mrs. Cash Wheeler, Jacky Rodriguez. What is up?
Oh my gosh. Well, what an introduction. What's up, everybody? Saying hi to everybody in the live chat. Thank you for joining us tonight. AEW Dynamite, like Ant said, Phil and I got to be there live. I'm not 25 anymore, guys. I can't recover from those long nights. I'm still feeling it. But it was worth every single second. So I can't wait to talk about this week and a little preview of next week's show.
Well, tonight's show.
And first off,
no.
First
and tonight's show too. But
this is a very simple commercial I'm gonna do real quick. Buy our fucking merchandise. Thank you. There's a commercial for Elite POV.
Look how good that looks.
Look how good
it looks. Down. Wait, hold on. Right here.
Wait.
Are you pointing?
POV merch.
We let the best looking one wear the merchandise. It's
yeah. It's a
right,
it's a marketing scheme.
Hey, do you guys have sleeveless tank tops I can wear? Because I have the sleeve monster shirt on all the time because it's as hot as Satan's dick down here in my basement.
And speaking of other things we have planned for this weekend.
Speaking of Satan's dick.
Speaking of Satan's dick. Twitch.tv/Game of Ant. Tell them what you got going on this weekend before we get into the show.
We have one of our pay-per-view events. Once a month, we do a pay-per-view with all the created characters. And Jax is going to defend her international championship against none other than our former co-host, the Demon Diva. That wasn't even planned. It just came together.
Love it.
It is called Valhalla. It is going to be a 10-match event. And it's going to be an event. I mean, I'm putting a lot of work into it. The feuds are crazy. We've built it for the last 6 weeks. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m., it comes to a head. Twitch.tv/Game of Ant. Kirk Ranner, my alter ego, will be inside a cage with the Mock and Dream Death Oath, and it's going to get crazy. So make sure you check that out Saturday night, 8 p.m., Twitch.tv/Game of Ant for Game of Wrestling.
And if you guys clicked on at 6 p.m., you would have saw a surprise appearance from Kurt Ranner's opponent.
Yep,
was here
Rhodes,
live talking
about the Elite TRT, baby.
This is why you gotta get here. You gotta make sure you guys watch the show live. So you gotta
get here for the pre-show.
That's why Patreon will be coming soon.
Yeah. So you can see After Dark.
After Dark.
So we can unleash the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, in all his glory.
Oh yes, all of it.
Well, let's jump right into it. So, of course, if you guys are following us on social media, me and Jacky had the privilege of being there live for AEW Dynamite this week at Newark. Of course, for pretty much all of us, these were tickets that were bought.
No. Did you just say Newark?
That's where it was.
Newark.
Same, whatever.
It's Nork.
Nork?
I just want...
No, it's Newark.
As the New Jerseyan...
It's Newark.
It's Nork.
Newark.
No.
We call it Nork.
Okay.
No one wants to go there anyway.
The real Jerseyan, me, where 3 hours above me is still New Jersey, not New York, calls it Newark. There you go.
Newark. Mom is in the chat.
Newark.
Mom lives
so it's
in
Nork. N-O-R-K?
Nork. Yes, Nork.
I live in Come on, New Jersey. No, it's Cape May. It's fucking, you don't have to squish words together. It's not Nork. It's not spelled N. First off, Nork sounds like a fictional character from the Lord of the Rings.
We got Mama Nork. POV in the chat talking about Brick City.
Brick City.
Yeah, I
Brick
feel
City,
you.
Baby.
Brick City, let's go.
From what
I was saying, so in Newark.
The Red Man. Shout out to Red Man.
In Newark this week, Of course, if people remember, these are the tickets that went on sale in like 2019 because the show was originally March of 2020 and it kept getting pushed back because of the pandemic. It ends up landing on this beautiful 3 weeks that we're going to have in the New York area, of course, starting in Newark, New Jersey. And then next week we have Queens. And then the week after that, we have the Rochester show that was, of course, the week after the Newark show would have been. But like I said, me and Jackie were lucky to be there. And before we even get into the matches, Jackie, how was the vibe? How did it feel being at that show? We met up with a ton of our friends there. We had some great times. We posted some great videos and pictures on our social media. What did you think of the whole experience?
It felt like one big old family reunion. It was nice to see so many familiar faces, some people that I've interacted with on Twitter for forever and are only just meeting for the first time, thanks a lot, COVID. But to be in an arena with, upwards of 15,000 people, it was surreal hearing the crowd so loud. I really hope it came across live the way that it did, because being in the building, it was freaking electric. I know that that's a word that gets thrown around like all the time, but I can't think of any other way to describe it. Last time I was in a live event was November of 2019 for Full Gear in Baltimore. So it's been a long time coming, and it was worth the wait.
I'm going to piss Jackie off here real quick because I was the one who wasn't there, but I was home and I just cooked myself a nice slice of pork roll. Yes, pork roll, not Taylor ham. And the crowd was electric. It was through the TV. It was louder than the Chicago shows minus the United Center, right? Mm-hmm. CM Punk's like off the Richter scale, but that whole, I would say one of the most impressive things is CM Punk comes out, the crowd, CM Punk, and as they go down, they hit the switch for Adam Cole, and it went right back up, and that was one of the coolest transitions, and it was that was mastermind because the crowd just erupted even louder. So it was awesome on TV.
I will say this, being there live, and we'll get into the segment as a whole later, but it was so loud during MJF's promo. There was moments where we couldn't hear him. During the Don Callis promo, there was moments we couldn't hear him. It's also AEW mic stuff, not as high as it should be, honestly.
So that drives you nuts because you went to school for that. The mixing needs to get better because sometimes
but it was great, where we couldn't hear them. Because it was damn, he's getting that much heat. It's nuts. And it's cool to see that it really came through on the TV. Because, of course, as we know, with the Chicago shows, we weren't there. But people that we knew were there were saying it was extremely loud. But on TV,
that's what I'm saying. The mixing, it was down, right? And I think, but the Nork was great.
Nork.
The Nork remembers.
Nork. Nork. Now, I just want to give a special shout out to some of the people we saw. Of course, Rob, my bulletproof partner. Pew, 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 pew. He was there.
Brother Dave.
Right. Shout out Dusty Dave. First time I've seen Dave in a very, very, very long time.
I love you, Dave.
And, of course, shout out Demon Diva herself, Issa, for hooking me up with those awesome tickets. What an upgrade. I was all the way up top, and then we were all the way in the lower bowl, so that was pretty awesome. Actually, all of us besides Rob were in the lower bowl, which was pretty cool.
And then Rob got the best pictures out of all of you guys.
Well, because Rob is the man of 1,004 pictures, is what we have dubbed him in the group chat. Yes. All right, his pictures are incredible.
His Malachi picture, I cannot wait to see that shit.
Oh my God, signed! Yeah, it's going to be great.
Unbelievable.
It's going to be absolutely great. But I mean, for me, experience-wise, it was surreal, right? Of course, we used to do these, fairly frequent when we did Rant with Ant, right? We would go to all these shows. And to me, it was kind of like a mini all-in, because of course the Prudential Center is tiny, right? It's a hockey arena, right? Well, what can they really fit in there? And it was just
more than they did it all in.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
3,000 more than they did it all in.
That's true. I mean, it seemed smaller, maybe because it was like the bowl setup. I don't know.
It's higher.
Oh, that's what it is.
It's higher, and and when you're thinking that AEW has previously run arenas that are less than 10,000 people, and then you have an arena like Prudential, come on.
They're running in Philly, and they're running at Temple University's thing, and it's not the biggest arena, right? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not Wells Fargo where they can put 20,000 people in. Mm-hmm. But then you see that, and then it's the week after or 2 weeks after Arthur Ashe. Arthur Ashe looks massive, but there's not a bad seat in the house because it's a tennis arena. Mm-hmm. So it's longer. It's longer than it is. It doesn't go as high. It's long and it's slanted.
Yep.
So everything is eyes there. Where like when we go to WrestleMania, we're all the way up. It feels like you're literally about to touch the stars.
Yeah, especially where we
Yeah.
sat in New York. But, so yeah, it was an awesome atmosphere, right? It was funny to visually see the merch line being way too long for anybody with
It's because Pro Wrestling Tee still hasn't even emailed me about my Jade shirt that I ordered like 3 fucking weeks ago.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
They had some good merch there. They had the CM Punk shirt, the real one with the black around the sleeves and the collar. They had the flag there, which I wanted to get, but I didn't want to wait on that line. They had Adam Cole's shirt. They had Bryan Danielson's shirt. A lot of great stuff. They had a lot of autographed figures, which I think is pretty cool that they do. Now, before we get into the matches, a little PSA for people, right? So, people need to understand, if you are doing these AEW meet and greets, really make sure you like the wrestlers, because the experience that I had was, so AEW does these meet and greets before the show, right? But they don't really tell the arena the difference in the tickets. So we're getting online, and also shout out Ballard Club guy, Justin and his girlfriend were there, right? Because this is where it comes in. So they were only letting people with VIP tickets in before they were letting general admission in, right? However, the meet and greet started at 5:30, which means if you had a meet and greet ticket, you also got in, but they didn't tell security that. So there was a whole mix up of like, but you're not a VIP, so we can't let you in, even though, and it was just a mess. So really make sure that it's someone you want to see, because also not only that, but it is a very sloppy process. They're kind of just wherever there's space. You can't bring your own personal item to be signed. It's just an 8x10.
Wait, you can't?
No, it's an 8x10 that they give
That's
out,
so
which,
dumb.
hey, it is what it is, right? We're lucky enough to even be meeting them. And still, even like the Lucha Bros were only 60. So, like, beggars can't be choosers. I understand that. But
I just want Jade to be in Philly. That's all I want. I already told Kyle, who's going with me. You know Kyle from the 5 Second Rule, Phil. I told him, I was like, bro, I'm letting you know, you need to get done work at like 4 o'clock because we need to get in line because I want to meet some wrestlers.
Yeah. But wait, you're going to the Philly show?
Yeah, I'm going to the Philly show.
So you have to buy the tickets beforehand because they do sell out. You can't buy them.
What, the meet and greet ones?
Yes, so you have to buy them on the website, awtix.com, for anybody who is listening or live in the chat right here. And they sell out before you get there. So like if you want to meet somebody, buy them when they go on. They go on sale at 12 p.m. Eastern time, right in the middle of the day. Listen, we're Arthur Ashe. Unless it's FTR or PNP, I am not going to meet
Jade.
Well, I don't know, because it's a tag
Jade.
team, a singles wrestler, and a woman. They always do those three, some type of those three. So we'll see, right? We got PNP at the Cincinnati show for some reason. So who knows what we're gonna get at Arthur Ashe, but that's just a PSA
I don't know,
for people.
but somebody start a prayer circle, light candles. I don't know what you believe in, but please, somebody just manifest FTR being either at the Queens meet and greet or the Philly meet
I will
and
be
greet.
so jealous if they're at the
we're gonna
Philly
have a
one,
connection.
because you'll get to meet them, and one, I won't get to meet them, but two, more importantly, I won't get to see you meet them. Which is what I'm. And if you guys
Somebody
are watching the
will
live video,
document it.
FTR baby.
Yep.
FTR all day. But I want to jump right into the show because there's a lot of stuff that I want to cover. So of course Dynamite starts, and the biggest thing I think is cool is like we get this, like, I don't know what to call it. It's like this CM Punk tour of like, let's just watch him smile and jump in the crowd every week. Oh, you don't have a segment? You're on commentary, whatever. We will find something for you to do on the show, because the most important thing is getting to hear Cult of Personality live in that building. And Jacky, I don't know how you felt, but me and Issa sitting in our seats, we looked at each other like, what world are we living in? What fever dream did we wake up from where we are singing CM Punk's theme song in an arena and he is coming out, and it is in pro wrestling? Like, how did you feel just hearing his music?
The fact that they opened up out of the gate, I was like, well, there goes my voice for the rest of the night.
Yep.
Like, as soon as you hear that little static just before Cult of Personality kicks in, it's like the goosebumps are up again. It just doesn't get old at this point. I really cannot even describe that being the first moment being back at a live show, and that little stage dive that he did was the most freaking epic thing. There was
He scares me every time. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one guy in a CM Punk shirt that looked like he was like training for that moment his whole life. He had his arms stretched out like
he went to him. Like it's like as a wide receiver when I played football in high school, it's like you come back to the ball. Like this dude came back. He saw Punk and he's like, "Oh God!" Like came back to him and like.
Well, did you guys see Bleacher Report?
The size of Punk too.
Bleacher Report posted a fan. He had like the POV version where like you saw CM Punk coming towards him.
Yes,
it was awesome.
A POV version, no pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended.
But yeah, seeing it from the perspective of like, if I saw like a guy that big just like flying at me, my first instinct would not be to put my arms out like that.
I think Punk's starting to like look for bigger people to jump on. Like that guy can catch me. Let me go to him. Right.
Well, I mean, for me, and I know Ant feels the same way.
He was like.
Yeah, for me and Ant, like, we're such big CM Punk fans that, like, I'm laying my life on the line. You're not getting hurt. I can get hurt. You cannot get hurt, right?
Yep, I'm catching you, bro.
Yeah, I don't care what's happening to me.
All these teeth are fake from hockey. Knock them out. Come on, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, jump in my arms.
They'll be in a swing the next day, broken arm, like whatever.
You come to work like, dude, what happened to you, bro? Caught CM Punk, bro. I don't know what happened. He's not hurt, though. We're good. But it's cool that we're getting to see like him on commentary. So how loud was it from watching it on TV?
It was super loud. Like super loud. Like I will say, obviously the arenas that are bigger, that are made for sports, like professional sports, always capture the sound quality better. If that makes sense. United Center, right? It's built to be loud. It's built for you to hear it.
Yep.
The Prudential Center, right? Like those kind of arenas, the sound travels better in. Like the way they are built is that way. So you can just definitely hear, but it's also the voice of 3,000 more people than normal, 4,000 more people just screaming their lungs out. So it came across great on TV.
That's good, and I'm happy it did. Now we're going from that to what I think was one of the best moments of the night, the best segments of the night. And it happens to be the first match, which is Adam Cole versus Frankie Kazarian, which I joke around with at the building, which is like your welcome packet. Here you go. Here's your new theme song by Mikey Ruckus. Here's your promo time, and here's your match with Frankie Kazarian. So what did you think of this as a way to start the show off? Because I thought it was going to be the main event.
It was the Elite Hunter.
Elite Hunter. Everyone's favorite, the Elite Hunter.
Everyone knows how I feel about the Elite Hunter. Now, Frankie Kazarian's a great opponent for Adam Cole because there is that built-in storyline, right? There is that built-in, like, he's the Elite Hunter. This is a new member of the Elite. It makes sense. And you got to start hot. You got to start hot because it's a 15,000-seat arena. It's sold out. And you promised blood and guts to them 18 months ago. It didn't happen. So how do you start it? You start it with Adam Cole.
Yep.
Right? And you start it with Adam Cole's debut match in AEW. And we all know how great Adam Cole is. I'm not going to sit here and critique a match. Adam Cole's the best. I do miss the boom being on, like, perfect beat.
Yeah, he'll get there. I noticed that live, too, because at the crowd, every time it goes, it's all about the... And the crowd does boom. But then when he gets to the ring, when he does it, it's, like, off. He'll get the cue times, right? Like, it's...
He needs to, like, delay, like, maybe 5 more seconds. So he goes, it's all about that. And then everyone can just go, boom. Like, he'll get the timing down. But great match. Kazarian's great. Like, I hate the Elite Hunter gimmick.
Kazarian has over 50 wins. I just saw a post... And he has over 50 wins in AEW because he is like the king of dark and elevation. Because he works with a lot of the young talent, which is amazing. We love to see it, right? And it's just like, this is a great way to, this is a great way to see Adam Cole be debuted here. Have this great match with Kazarian to kind of start it off. But Jackie, what did you think from where you were sitting?
It was fantastic. And I know that, we joke a lot about the Elite Hunter gimmick overall, but the bottom line is Frankie Kazarian is a workhorse. His matches are always solid. So it was, even the Elite Hunter gimmick removed, it was a great place to start because that both men are capable of delivering a stellar match, and that's exactly what they did. The hype was real. The after-match promo where, Adam Cole was laying down the ultimatum and laying down the challenge for Arthur Ashe with him and the Bucks versus Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian. It's just, again, it goes back to what you were saying earlier with you're like, am I in a fever dream? I literally just watched Adam Cole come out as, the opening match of AEW Dynamite. So it was killer to me.
And a great, incredible way to start, right? I agree with everything you guys are saying.
Especially in the chat.
Yeah, especially we blocked him. We're moving on. None of the pure hatred in the chat, right? We let you guys come in here. You can talk. We can have a good time. But we don't gotta hate. We weren't even talking about him yet.
That's a stupid fucking name.
Yeah, come on, bro.
Yeah.
We weren't even talking about him yet. We'll get to it. But great way to start off.
CM Punk? Who was complaining about CM Punk?
Nobody.
We're all like literally sitting in an elite POV circle jerk for the man.
Yeah, exactly. But listen, live shows, right? This is what happens,
right?
Yep, you're live, pal.
So the next thing I want to bring up, which I think was the second biggest spot for me, at least personally, was the main event, and that's Mox and Kingston versus 2.0, which, as we say, I think I said it last week, people were calling them AEW's version of Team Rocket, which I think is hilarious. I mean, these guys, like, I know they were on NXT, and I think they had just debuted as Everrise, and they were starting to get going, but like they get released and they're like a main part of the show every week, right? Them and Daniel Garcia are used so much, and they don't ever win really, but they're just so much fun on the mic and so much fun in the match. So I'll start with you, Jackie. No, what? You had something to say?
No, I just want to say, like, yeah, they never win, but they're always put in important spots. Like they're being used to get other people over, which, every podcast you listen to with wrestlers says any TV time is great TV time, right? And 2.0 has gotten a lot of TV time, and they've been beat up by Punk, they've been beat up by Sting, they've been beat up by every top star in the company. So to me, I think that's the ultimate rub, and I think eventually 2.0 is going to have to be taken more serious because I think they're going to start racking up wins.
Yeah, like I completely agree on that statement. I think I had mentioned this in a previous episode that we did, but it's like the fact that they're coming right out the gate and they're being engaged in feuds with these major players, major stars in AEW says a lot about the confidence that AEW management has in this team. But yeah, like I really have nothing really like super. I think I'm going to be completely honest with you. By that point of the night, I was shot. I was freaking shot. But any opportunity to see Mox and Kingston tag team together, I'm here.
And to get to sing Wild Thing live, right? Like, of course, I was lucky enough to get to sing it at Double or Nothing. A lot of people got to sing it at All Out, right?
I can't wait to Philly. I cannot wait to sing it.
You're definitely going to get to sing it, and it's going to be epic, and it's so much fun.
Well, because Moxley's, like, second hometown is Philly, so that's why I'm excited for the meet and greets, to circle back to the Mox thing. The circle back to the meet and greet thing, because I'm pretty sure Mox will get the meet and greet in Philly, since literally, like, CZW was Philly, and he was there for 5-6 years. Philly was his home, so.
Yeah. And I hope that he wrestles, and I hope that you get to sing it, because it's great. It's a good time. Everybody sings along, and you get to play the fun game that me and Issa got to play, which was, where is he coming out of? We're looking at, he can maybe make it down that ramp, but the cameras are over there, and we were just trying to pick out where he was coming from, and it was cool. But the cool thing that happened after the match, of course, Suzuki and Lance Archer came out. Suzuki got his full entrance, which, and I was talking about it that night, and it's one of my favorite things about AEW, and they listen to the fans.
And they played into it.
So on Twitter, if people don't know, they started calling, when they cut Suzuki's music short before they got to the part that everybody sings along, they were calling it the Suzuki incident. Right, this happened for like a day or two, and then AEW picked up on it, and they were tweeting the Suzuki incident. Punk made a reference on his Twitter to the Suzuki incident. It became a thing, and it became canon, as we say, right? So then I feel like it's funny because, yet again, Tony Khan's the man, because it's like, oh, you're mad that we didn't play his music? Well, now his music will be the actual main event of Dynamite, because it's the last thing you hear before everything goes off air, which I think was awesome. But, like, how cool was it, Jackie, seeing them fight till the cameras are off and then keep fighting?
Yeah, I hadn't watched back the full TNT version of it, so I'm not sure exactly where it cut off, but they were like fighting all throughout the arena. It was like playing a game of like, okay, well, where the hell are they now? It was like pure pandemonium.
It cut off with them in the crowd, because if you saw the monitor went completely black, right? And then
Yeah.
it's Moxley and
Yeah,
Suzuki staring at each
it
other.
cut off in the crowd. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
then
So then, so
Everything
then
that happened afterwards.
I was
only
about to
we
say,
didn't
so
see
they
anything.
didn't hear Archer's,
Promo. Nope.
Nothing.
promo afterwards. Wow,
Yeah.
I'm surprised they cut that.
It cut literally with Moxley and Suzuki, I think, swinging on each other, and it just went. We'll see you next week. Done. But this version of Mox, right? And for people who, especially in the Philadelphia area, that had the pleasure of seeing Mox when he was doing CZW and seeing him before Dean Ambrose, right? And I'm a Shield mark, still am to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Dean Ambrose. I didn't like what they were doing with his solo run or whatever, but there was always a little bit of John Moxley, but it was never to the extent where I could really sink my teeth into it and say that guy's my man. Like that's my dude. I'm going to ride with him. And just watching it with my father, who's a casual viewer, who now watched his second in a row, so he's up to 2 Dynamites in a row.
Yay, Dad!
Papa D.
And he's like, he loves Moxley. He pops for Moxley. He laughs every time he bites someone. He's like, this guy. He's like, this is so much better than the potted plant. I looked at him and I'm like, oh, you fucking remember Mitch? Okay,
yeah, Mitch.
Like,
Wow.
he's like, this is so much better. Like, he looks like he's having fun, and he looks like he's like a monster. And I'm like, yeah, this is what he should have been the whole time. But this reincarnation of Mox, right? This is the guy that held the title during the pandemic era, that kept everyone invested. And now it's like, this is his reward. Is like, they're just letting him out of his cage. And like, you could just tell by his matches with Suzuki and everything he's been doing since, the promo about the Forbidden Door has just been so much fun to him. And when he has fun, there's nobody more fun to watch.
And it's cool because even though
he's a loose cannon,
he's not champion, he's still a big part of the show, right? He's still main eventing a lot of shows. And like you said, he's kind of like the one holding the Forbidden Door open. Like, I want to face you, and you get here now. Like, and that's really cool because, in other companies, we see a lot where it's like, you're champion, you're not champion no more. Well, now you have no direction. You kind of get thrown to the side.
You're going to fade into the ether.
Yeah. And if you're going to get used again, maybe, right? If you're popular enough, you'll probably get the title right back again. And then we'll get to build stories. But in AEW, they do cool stuff similar to the way NXT used to be a few years ago, where like, hey, you're on TV, you don't need the title, you can still have big moments and big matches. And it's awesome to see that Tony Khan, he said in interviews before, Moxley meant a ton to them because he held them down during the pandemic. He was the pandemic champion. He kept the ratings up. So it's cool to see him kind of rewarded. Now, so we got Savannah in the chat talking about how they're seemingly deleting Scorpio from SCU history. It's kind of true, kind of not true, because there's been Man of the Year promos where they've referenced that Scorpio Sky is a former tag champ with SCU. I just think that Kazarian and Scorpio kind of got the raw deal with all of it because Daniels is older. It looks like he's completely retired from in-ring competition. It's not official yet, but it seems like it is. And, Scorpio's with Ethan Page, which we'll talk about because they have a very fun segment that I seem to be the only one who liked. But we'll get to that.
You might have been. Yeah, you might have been because I couldn't stand it. But
really?
So
let's I want to jump right into that. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, so they're doing this whole thing with American Top Team and Dan Lambert, who Dan Lambert is what we assume, what a lot of the fans are assuming, supposed to be playing a Jim Cornette-esque character. He's saying a lot of stuff that Jim Cornette has been saying about AEW for the past 2 years, right? They're taking it and kind of using it to get other people over. Now, initially, I will say it does kind of suck that they're not letting Ethan Page talk because he's a great talker. However, for me, a very casual fan of MMA, but a huge fan of this one person in particular, Paige VanZant came out, and I completely lost my fucking mind.
I saw that spoiler, and I was like, I can't text Phil. I'm not texting
because,
Phil.
of course, like I should probably have glasses, all right? Let's be honest, right? My eyesight is terrible. So they're coming out, and I'm like, all right, there's 2 girls. And I'm like, that blonde looks really familiar. And as they're getting closer, I'm turning to Issa like, is that Paige VanZant? Is that Paige VanZant? And then they show her on the big screen. And I was like, that's fucking Paige VanZant. And her husband. I always forget her husband.
I hate that they didn't say, like, he's like, this is Paige VanZant. She could take out any female in this company. Like, he should name check them. And that's my only nitpick because I think he's a great fucking promo because he does exactly what he should do.
Yep.
He pisses you off, and you're just like, shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
He just keeps going. And the louder the crowd gets, the louder he gets. And I'm like, that is the perfect heel. And like, we're watching heels, right, on Stars, and it's all about building character. And this guy's not a professional wrestling manager, but he's one of the best promos in that company.
Oh, 100%.
And yeah, he's saying stuff like, oh, you marks and all this, but he's tapping the nerve to get you to boo him. And if you listen to it, his boos outweigh almost everybody's boos on that show except MJF.
Except for MJF.
And Don Callis.
Yeah, except MJF. Don Callis, well, they were just calling him a piece of shit.
Carney piece of shit. I love it. I saw a tweet from Chucky T saying that he's not going to say piece of shit anymore because everybody says it.
Everybody beat him to it.
Right? It's so crazy.
They said way too much on that. Like, I was like, God, like, they're going to definitely lose sponsorships. They're saying, like, shit. Jericho dropped
no. Wait, I want to drop a side note on this because this to me was hilarious. And Phil, you could back me up because you were there. So in the beginning of the show, like before they go live, they do a disclaimer out to the audience: no fighting, no drug use, no excessive alcohol. Please refrain from using, slurs, profanity. And I'm like, wait a minute. They expect New Jersey to not use profanity in the show. So
especially
jumping
Nork.
around a little bit. Yes, Nork.
Nork.
During the MJF promo, for example, we're literally like chanting, shut the fuck up at like full volume. And I wonder if that came across like on television? Because I was like,
they could hear it.
They didn't bleep out the fucks. I mean, I don't know how they would.
No, it was.
I thought they would turn down the volume,
they
the
definitely
audio.
play with the crowd volume, but you could still hear them saying "shut the fuck up." You can hear them saying "piece of shit." You fucked up or whatever they said. But they kept turning it down.
Definitely loud. Like
I just bit a hole right in my lip. So hold on one second.
Oh, okay.
He just did what?
Well, yeah. He said he just bit a hole in his lip.
Oh, good
but
job.
Yeah.
But no, so we got people in the chat. We got Divine saying, I mean, I get it. Lambert's a heel, but why are they not letting Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky talk? No, I 100% agree. And actually, Jackie, tell me what you didn't like about this. Because I actually really liked it and really enjoyed it because, of course, this means we're getting Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky wrestling on, was it the Rampage for next week, right? The second part of the Arthur Ashe show. And then, against Jericho, who's one of the biggest stars in the company, and then Jake Hager. And actually, before I forget, before we go to you, Chris Jericho's trying to get Jake Hager killed. Listen, Jake Hager might be undefeated in Bellator, but like everyone in that ring can fuck him up, right? Let's not act like Junior Dos Santos won't wash him, or Paige Van Zandt's husband won't wash him, who's also in Bellator. Like, let's not get Jake Hager beat up. But Jackie, tell me what you didn't like about that segment.
Okay. I'm all for the, for the nuclear heat and stuff like that. Like, yes, there are, Dan Lambert is a good promo in the sense that his talking is smooth, uninterrupted, and he's very committed to what he's saying. Like, despite how loud the crowd gets, how much they're booed, he freaking just like goes all in. What I can't stand, to me personally, if you like it, great. You do have Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky in this equation, but doing what?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel to me that his presence, Dan Lambert's presence as a mouthpiece, is doing anything to elevate these two guys that
doesn't elevate them at all.
That have been seemingly lost in translation this entire time. And so to me, it's like you could use this time for something else because it's really doing nothing for your AEW guys. So that's where I take issue with it.
I agree with everything you're saying, and you just actually made me realize something. So, a lot of wrestling companies say that like everything is about the visual, right? You're a fan, you're changing the channel, you see Dan Lambert and a bunch of people in the ring, right? Maybe you don't even know who he is. You just see a bunch of people in the ring. There's no cues from Lambert or anybody that like Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky are the actual wrestlers. Because there's so many people in the ring. Who are the wrestlers? Who are we supposed to be booing, right? I know Jericho was talking about them, but it was just a mess of people in the ring. Now, I wish they would do something where maybe Lambert starts it out, but Page and Scorpio Sky maybe finish the promos. Because Ethan Page is an incredible promo.
Yeah. Ethan Page is an amazing promo.
So, like, let him talk, and it would have been great to see him and Jericho go back and forth.
And Scorpio Sky was a man who just used to grab the giant Sonic ring to win.
Remember
the brass ring?
The brass ring.
The Sonic ring. It was huge. It was like
the face. That's the man. The face of the Revolution.
The face of the revolution.
Yo, shout out to
no,
Infinity rating us with 5 people. Thank
yeah,
you,
Infinity.
sir.
Thank you, brother. We love you, man. Thank you. But yeah, I agree, Jackie. So like in the sense of a promo, he's a great promo because again, for you to not be a wrestler or not have that training and keep your composure throughout, never fuck up, never miss a beat is incredible. But again, what is he doing? I am willing, because it's been 3 or 4 weeks, I am willing to sit back and watch it develop because obviously they just threw Jericho at these guys. Jericho and Hager, the Inner Circle, one of their biggest factions. Jericho's one of their biggest names. If that's their first match and say Ethan Page then gets a pin over Jericho, well, now the credibility's there, right? They're hanging around with all these bad motherfuckers. They're going to become bad motherfuckers is pretty much how I'm taking it. Like they're hanging out with UFC, Bellator, all these like
legit
MMA fighters. So now, hopefully, they change their style and they're more of an aggressive tag team. So I'm willing to give the story.
It keeps them on the show.
But you got to give Ethan Page a mic.
100%.
It's that simple.
So that's more or less that's my issue with it.
Now, from him not getting the mic to the person who is
Savannah Smile, I can see that. That's a perfect thing what you said too. Maybe like almost like a Heyman. I hate like comparing it to, but like actually having like a UFC fighter. Like how Zeb Coulter was with Jack Swagger, if you will, where it's like, just be their voice, and this dude's a legit badass. I'm going to talk all this shit. So maybe they're just trying something different with a tag team, but your point's not lost on me either. That's a really good point.
Yep, I agree. Now, transitioning to, let's just talk about MJF, right? We're talking about mic work. This guy, the fact that he's so young still blows my mind, right? This dude, his heat is nuclear. Like, there's a lot of heels in wrestling who are like the cool, like Adam Cole, for example, right? Bless his heart. No one's booing that man. Everybody was cheering him. Everybody was booing Kazarian, right? People love Adam Cole. Even Kenny Omega, it's, people are booing. They're playing along with the story if it's the right opponent. If
they will not boo Adam Cole. It doesn't matter who he fights. They're not going to boo Adam
100%, right? It's too much fun to do the boom and the baby. It's just too much fun. But MJF, and I love MJF, right? But man, he gets me. He gets me because he is such an asshole, right? And he's so good at getting under your skin and just. So, Ann, what did you think of MJF's promo? Because you had another week and another great promo from him.
He is the best promo in professional wrestling, and I'll tell you what, it's hard from experience. It's very hard to combat him, right? And I'm a smart ass, but I was hanging with him when we were at All In, and we were going back and forth. But he has the gift of a quick wit, and there's someone with a quick wit who can think on their feet and a pretty good trash talker. I respect that, and I think to do that, and he always just pushes the line where to the point you're like, if he steps a little bit more, he's getting fired, without a doubt, because he's going to say something fucked up. But he straddles that line perfectly, and like we said, we like him in the ring. We're all sitting here praising his promo, but when he comes out, I'll boo the fuck out of the guy, right? It's just a perfect. He is the perfect heel character, and like. I just think the sky's the limit for him. 20-some years old.
25. We got Divine 25. In the chat telling us 25.
25, because he was signed when he was like 22 or 23.
Yeah.
25 years old, right? This is just the beginning.
He has a whole career ahead of him. 20 years left.
I hate to draw comparisons, but like not like acting and all, but it reminds me of like The Rock. Like this guy comes in, he's young, all the talent in the world, and then you're just going to see him
just all the way up to the top of the even card. Higher levels than we even thought were possible, right? Especially as a heel.
He'll never be the biggest face in the company. He doesn't have that kind of charisma. That's the one thing I will say, because he's so good at being a dick that he'll never be like how The Rock could switch. Like he could go boo boo. He'll never be that. He's going to be a heel his whole career. He's going to be the most hated man in the world. He's going to be Ric Flair to Dusty Rhodes. Like everyone hated Flair.
Piper. And I think there's a lot of comparisons.
Piper. Oh my God, Piper. Yeah, everyone hated Piper. But then in 20 years, you sit back after Piper retires and you go, that fucking man was my favorite wrestler. The whole time you didn't know.
People.
MJF is that good where it's like we all can respect what he does, but we're all going to hate him. We're all going to root for him to lose. And that's hard to do in today's environment because the heels are so cool.
Yeah, it's very attitude.
Kevin Owens is the perfect example. Yeah. Kevin Owens comes out. Who boos him?
Yeah, nobody.
Whoever booed Kevin
Owens.
Nobody's
going to boo Kevin Owens.
Nobody. Because he's cool, right?
Yeah.
It kind of goes with Adam Cole. Adam Cole is a great character. I don't view him as a heel. He's with a bunch of heels. But to me, a heel is someone that can draw that boo out of you. And MJF and Dan Lambert are pretty much the guys right now that can
Don
do
Callis too.
And,
Yeah,
like
Don Callis.
right.
Don Callis is great at being an asshole too.
I just think that, like, you know, people at the end of the day, like, there are people that are heels by nature, but are striving in some little nuance to be over with the crowd, to sell merch, to like, you know, to be likable. MJF doesn't give a single solitary shit if you like him or if you don't. And he wants you to hate him, and he'll continue to push the boundaries. And every time that you think that he can't say something more messed up, he will find something else to like take it to the next level where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they let him say that. Yeah, and I think somebody put it out in the chat, but that was my instant thought. The whole, like, I'm going to talk to Brian Pillman Sr. Hey, Brian, you know, who am I kidding?
Yeah, he
Let me look
down.
down into, like, whatever and stomp on the ground like, what's up, Brian? You know, like, we know where you really are. And I'm like, oh, my God, this guy,
like
he
Ann
just
said,
finds new
he's
ways.
hitting the right buttons. Like, it's like, oh, man, MJF is such a great talker. And then he does something like that, and you're like, but, ooh, you motherfucker.
Because we love, like, wrestling fans love Brian Pillman. Right, we loved them. Right, the Flying Brian, right, and the whole tragedy behind it. Right, we all were like, that guy was awesome. And then we see Pillman Jr., who looks exactly like his dad. Right, and we're drawn to him because he's this ultra hot baby face right now. Where it's like he's in the Varsity Blondes, which is like his dad's old tag team. Everything's like correlation. So we're basically watching Brian Pillman 2.0. And now you're having MJF call out a legend that can't defend himself, which is cheap heat, right? It's easy heat, but he does it in a way that it's like, well, like I know that this is all approved, and I know Brian Pillman Jr. is like, say this.
Yeah.
I still want to slap him in the face for saying it, you know? Like,
but it's cheap heat in the best way, because it's cheap heat where it's like, wait, is he supposed to say that? It makes you think twice. It's not just like, oh, we're in New Jersey. The Giants suck. You know what I mean? Like it's more fun than that.
Yeah. But that's why I love this wrestling company. Like, the Jericho Dan Lambert segment, they were throwing bombs at each other.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like a real argument. Like, they were like, "Fuck you!" Like, and they were just going at it.
Kudos to Lambert for sticking with Jericho.
He went toe-to-toe with Jericho. Yeah. Can we talk? I mean, circle back to that because we like to circle here. POV. But that guy held his own against one of the greatest mic workers of all time.
Yeah.
You got to. I mean, you got to show a little bit of like, okay, we hate you, but bravo.
So now I want to transition into what one of us on this show was the main event of her evening. Okay. Now,
I was about to pop.
The beauty of what AEW does every week. Of course, they cram so much into their shows, right? Yeah. And actually, before we get into the next match, so Jacky, did you feel like it didn't feel as rushed when you're there because you don't hear the commentary like 100 miles an hour? Like, it felt like it was actually paced very nicely when you're there, because like when you go to commercial, it's just silence, right? Maybe Justin Roberts would talk to the crowd a little bit, but did you feel like it was as chaotic as when we watch it at home when you're there live?
No, actually being there live, it felt longer. Yeah. I mean, obviously, because we're seeing the in-between, the behind-the-scenes stuff, the little things that they do as filler, during commercial breaks, etc. But so watching it live versus watching the televised version back, I was like, this show feels so much shorter because
this is going to sound weird, but I think CM Punk helped because he did not speed up his talk. He kept talking at his pace, at his cadence. And I think it's just what they needed because it didn't let Excalibur go, all right, on the next match, I'm going to go to Tony Schiavone, whatever. And then JR like, oh, what a slobber knocker. Like, it was like having someone in that fourth chair that would like command the mic and pace it made it actually feel a lot less rushed this week than prior weeks. But before we get into Cash Wheeler here.
Oh, some water because you're thirsty.
Oh boy, the water.
You're thirsty.
Yeah,
so let's get into it. I
have my Jacky glass right here.
Nice. So what I was saying before we went off was, so even though AEW packs their shows, Tony Khan is very good at having what I like to call surprise matches that he announces literally day of. maybe a few hours on Busted Open, he always announces some match that I found 10 minutes in the show. Let's fit a match in there. So this week we got FTR versus Dante Martin and Matt Sydal, which is awesome because I don't really like Matt Sydal's brother. Right, I'm not a big fan of him.
I don't really like Matt Sydal.
Matt Sydal's okay, right? But Dante Martin is an absolute star in the making.
Yeah.
This kid has a super bright future, so it's a lot of fun, and we got to see FTR. So now I just want to go to Jacky, right? You got to see your man.
I'm gonna silence.
Yeah, and I'm FTR. I'm wearing the shirt. If you guys are watching this live,
right.
And they're my favorite tag team of all time. But Cash Wheeler's thighs were out for the world to see. Jacky popped in her seat. If you guys follow her on Twitter, you got to see the video. Jacky, let me know what was going through your mind and your body when my man came out with them dots.
My mind's telling me no.
My body. I don't want to put
chaos.
I don't want to put that guy over, but let me preface this by saying that I think maybe 5 minutes before the show was going to go live, my phone was blowing up with notifications saying, hey, they just booked this match, this FTR match, like minutes before they made the announcement. I went there in my FTR gear. I'm like, I don't care if they're not booked on the card. I'm going to wear my FTR merch and I'm going to rep. So just getting the announcement, I'm like, I am the FTR girl. That it's just known. My tweets were blowing up like, this match is happening. They came out, to have them against a team like, even though they're kind of like a thrown together team with Dante Martin and Matt Sydal, two very contrasting styles. You have FTR with their traditional old school, ground and pound, slow, methodical, and Dante Martin, Matt Sydal flying all over the place with the acrobatics and just, I'm a mark, and you can just say that this is me being biased. FTR cannot have a bad match with any team.
They work everyone perfectly.
They work everyone.
If you have a bad match, it's your fault. If you have a bad match,
I'll tell you what. The best part about FTR is they work that traditional way, but they're not afraid to like let other people work that way. Like, and I think a lot of times, especially a team like FTR with all their accolades, with how good they are, they could say, no, we're not doing this spot. We're going to do this. And they let Dante Martin look like a fucking star, but then they still went over, right? But in the end, you're still like, how is this kid Dante Martin great with everyone he works with? How is he? And it's props to FTR because they could have just been in there and been like, no, we're not going to do all the flying shit. But they just gel with everybody, and every FTR match feels different than another one.
Yes,
even though they're working the same style.
They bring it every single time. And the philosophy behind it is, yes, because I sit there and watch all the interviews and everything, they're there to elevate their baby faces. They're not trying to steal the show. They're trying to make their opponents look good. And it's just like I said, it doesn't matter like what kind of wrestlers they're going against, like what styles. They're always, whoever they're competing with, even if they lose, they're always elevated. Oh. I'm just going to say it. FTR is the greatest tag team going right now.
I think they're the best tag team of all time. I said it. They're the best tag team of all time. They're new school enough that they can handle a lot of these, the Bucks and the Lucha Bros and all these newer teams, the New Day and the Usos we saw in WWE. But they are old school enough that they can work that old school style with some of the legends if we were able to teleport them back to the past. So I just think, like you said, if like we said, if you have a bad match with FTR, it's your fault. Now,
my favorite thing about them is and I know AEW's tag division gets a lot of shit because they don't listen to the ref. They don't, which I think's more fun. I think they have the most fun tag division I've ever seen. But one thing I can respect about FTR, always holding the tag ropes.
Yep.
Always cutting off the ring. Always getting out of the ring on the 3. They don't stay in the ring too long. It's like the basics. Like it's like Kobe Bryant said, if you can't perfect the basics, what are you going to perfect?
Yep.
They perfected the basics of tag team wrestling. It's the little things. It's the little detail. Like cutting off the ring was such a lost art, right?
Yes.
I'm going to beat you up in my corner because your guy is further away than my guy. So now we can double team you. It's just basics, but they do it so well that when like Dante Martin gets a hot tag or when the Young Bucks go and make that hot tag, the crowd goes fucking nuts because it feels like they've been in deep waters forever. Like they are stuck there. They're not getting out. And it's all psychology, and I don't think they're not my favorite tag team, right? PMP is my favorite tag team, but they are the best tag team going. I will tell you that.
Now to go from that to what happened later on in the night, of course we got to see Darby versus Shawn Spears, and it's very similar to matches that.
No, Spears is the man.
He's
bro.
awesome.
Shout out to Kyle Masters.
Yo, Shawn Spears is the man, right? A lot of people overlook how good of a wrestler he is because, of course, he's not the biggest star there, but he's like Kazarian, right? He's the guy you put in the ring. No, but I'm saying like there are guys in AEW. He's the workhorse. He's gonna get a good match out of you, and of course, you know we've talked about Darby matches. He's insane, right? Oh. The coffin drop looked like it hurts him more than it hurts his opponent. But what I want to talk about is what happened after that match, and we get FTR coming out, continuing the feud with Tully and Sting that we saw from a week or two ago, and then you get FTR beating down Darby, beating down Sting, wiping the face mask off of both of those guys, and more importantly, yet again, we get another FTR match next week in Queens, where it's FTR versus Sting and Darby. Let's fucking go.
And Cash took his shirt off.
And Cash took his shirt off with them pants that were holding on for dear life in those black jeans. But Jackie, how did you feel seeing them come out again, and then seeing them get to destroy Sting?
It was a whole moment. Just the blatant the blatant disrespect of the taking the wet towel and wiping all of Sting's makeup off and just like going in and setting this match up for next week. I was a kid on Christmas because I didn't expect to even get this match, and now I'm gonna be in Queens next week and I'm gonna get that match too. So I'm hyped as hell. I'm keeping it tame right now, but inside I'm slowly like dying a happy death.
So we got Divine in chat asking us is anybody excited for Sting versus Tully. So here's the thing. In any other company, I'd say no. But in this company, especially with the shows booked as packed as they are, it'll be like a 2-minute match. And it'll be just something that's fun and have a post-match beatdown that actually elevates the younger guys that are around them. So I'm okay with it. It'll be like a cool nod to the feud that Tully and Sting has had. You know, it's just fun. It's just for fun. AEW likes to do stuff for all different age groups. This is where
Tessa debuts and beats up Sting and Phil. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just gonna keep.
Listen, if we're gonna keep fantasy booking until the day it happens, and you're like, I told you 3 years from now.
It's like when we were doing Rant with Ant. I always said Dean Ambrose heel turn. I said it for 4 years, and then we literally like stopped the show and he turned heel.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's because we stopped the show. That's exactly what it is.
But wait, since we talked about fantasy booking, can we then now talk about
fantasy
Omega and Danielson?
Yeah.
Whoa! Why does someone get the thirst? And
before we get to, I want Ant to thirst over his. So before we get to, we'll end the show with Omega and Danielson, right? So Ant, how did it feel seeing your girl just beat the shit out of poor Layla Hirsch? Who, just shout out, Layla Hirsch, fantastic wrestler. Okay, she might be as tall as this desk that I'm sitting at right now, but she is an incredible wrestler.
She was awesome.
A recommendation.
Really impressed with Layla Hirsch.
A recommendation for anybody.
And she's a Jersey girl.
She is a Jersey girl, Jersey's own. For anybody who hasn't watched it already, a great recommendation if you want to see a great match, which is very similar to this match actually. It was a little longer, though. Layla Hirsch versus Camille for the NWA Women's Championship at Empower was an unbelievable match, right? But Ant, go ahead.
I think, well, first, Jade is a fucking star. Everything, like, again, watching with a casual viewer, my father, she came out and he was like, who is that? I'm like, that's Jade Cargill. I'm like, that's the girl shirt I have. Like, she's fucking awesome. He's like, she looks like Storm from X-Men. I'm like,
yep. Which is funny. Everybody says that. Everybody says that.
Right? My dad used to own a comic book store, so he's like, first things like Storm. And I'm like, yeah, she's like a badass. But what I liked is that they made her look vulnerable. Because, again, with these undefeated streaks, if you can't look vulnerable, it gets old fast. Right? So that's what I was saying about Miro last week. You have to make them look vulnerable. You have to make them look beatable. And Hirsch did a great job of getting a couple close calls where you're like, oh, man, Jade might lose. Jade's not going to lose. But in your head, you're like, this could happen. Like, legit, if she goes up against someone like a Ruby Soho could beat her. Britt Baker could beat her. Like, there is a chink in the armor. of Jade Cargill, and I loved it. And it was I'm only used to watching Jade squash people in 3 minutes.
Yep.
This was like a 10-minute
This
match.
is the first match you got to see her like
And-
actually get put through the
and,
motions.
I will tell
Right.
you, I agree with people when I say she's not ready to be elevated, but she's a lot further than I think we all thought she was.
Yeah, and we have Divine
I agree with that.
in the chat saying that sometimes Jade looks like she's going through the motions. So when it comes to someone like Jade, I'm reminded of seeing Charlotte in NXT. So
Yes.
when Charlotte first was in NXT, there was flashes until she wrestled Natty, and then it was like, we're here. Charlotte Flair is born.
Something happened.
Right?
Yeah.
The same thing is going to happen with Jade. We just have to remember there is no developmental for AEW. So everything they do is in front of the camera in front of us in Dark and Elevation. And the fact that Jade commands everyone's attention, she has that it factor, she has the thing you can't teach, is perfect. Everything else will come with time.
To be fair, though, we haven't really had to see Jade sell before. So maybe she looks like she's going through the motions because she's used to having a 2-minute match. So maybe it's just awkward for her. She's trying to find, with the biggest thing we always say is like these wrestlers like Ruby Soho and Tay Conti is they know where the camera is to play to the camera to sell. And Jade might not know that. Jade might be a little bit slower on the transitions of getting up and selling and stuff because it's all new territory to her. She wasn't a pro wrestler. I do think she has the tools. And like you said, it's like the Charlotte Flair thing. Because I used to be a Charlotte Flair critic where I'm like, she's not that great. She's not. And then, like you said, there's something that clicked and you go,
it was a Natty match.
Okay.
So we got Divine also saying who would be her Natty. There's not a lot of veteran women. I mean, it could be Ruby Soho. It could be Serena Deeb.
Ruby Soho.
Right? We just have to.
Could even.
Yeah. We just have to remember that the women's division is very young, and a lot of them debuted during the pandemic. So a lot of them, this is their first time wrestling in front of big arenas, and they're just getting bigger and bigger and louder. So it's like we have to have patience. Everything will be fine. Everything will work out. But Jackie, what did you think of this match?
I thought it was great. I love Layla Hirsch. She's somebody
great.
that, she comes in with such intensity and, she makes me proud to be a more
Nork.
petite
A
person.
Nork Jersey girl?
Oh boy, now you guys are just like dragging this one. But no, I think she's great. She came across as like a formidable opponent for Jade. And what I will say to the tone of, her seeming like she's going through the motions or something, I think sometimes that plays into her like blase attitude, like I'm above you, like I don't really need to like do a whole lot to take you out, like oh whatever, just another light day at the office. So like her not really having to bring that level of intensity plays into the fact that she's a total badass and nobody could stop her. So
good point.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm ready to see her continue to be elevated, and fingers crossed maybe her quote natty will be somebody like a Thunder Rosa.
Oh yeah,
Thunder Rosa has
there you go.
Right
I don't know why I didn't
right
think
now.
about
Who
that.
is she?
Thunder Rosa.
Who is she working that? Besides, like, I think Hirsch did a great job with her. But who is she working that could elevate her yet?
Thunder Rosa is a great idea,
Right?
Jackie.
Like,
That's a great idea because remember, Thunder Rosa has her own company and school with Mission Pro Wrestling. So Thunder Rosa, and as we see here, you'll see it this week in the Elevation. We saw it during the tapings. Thunder Rosa works with a lot of newer girls, right?
I could be a mark for this, right? This is where I think Jade Cargill would be a perfect matchup for someone like Deonna Purrazzo.
Yep.
Because Deonna Purrazzo is so technical that it's the ground game and it's not as quick, and you can have Jade like be the more powerful one. Like I just feel like that's the kind of person, and that's why Charlotte clicked this, because Natty's not going to run and flip and jump, and you don't have to get up and know the spot right quick. It's more methodical. It's more slow. So that's why Natty was so important to Charlotte, because then Charlotte could get to the spot at a better pace, if you will.
And she will learn.
I think someone like Deonna Purrazzo, obviously, if the Forbidden Door opens and Deonna comes to AEW, I'm having a fucking party on air. That's just what's going to happen. That's my Jersey girl. I love her. But I do think it has to be someone like that. But again, I think it was very special for them to showcase that match in front of that big of an audience, because it's pegging Jade as your next big thing. Like that is your next star that you're getting to see.
We can see it.
And that was the only women's match. And it's like, this is Jade Cargill. They didn't even have Britt Baker on the show.
So they tape Rampage afterwards, as was announced already, so it's not a spoiler. We are getting an in-ring segment with Britt Baker and Ruby Soho to hype up their match that is happening next week in Queens. So, yes, she wasn't on Dynamite technically, but we did get to see
that's what I love about
Rampage.
AEW. Like, we got a surprise Malachi. Cody came back.
Yep. And shout out to Rosario Dawson.
Sorry, Moon Man. Cody came back.
Rosario Dawson jumping the barricade and choking Malachi.
Rosario Dawson was there, looking good as hell.
Yeah.
Like
Jedi. Cody had to work. And listen, I understand. And I'm actually very interested to get your take, Jackie, because I don't know if we've talked about Cody like that. I can't remember it. But, like,
okay,
I still like Cody. And I understand he is very frustrating sometimes. He beats a lot of young talent, but it's Cody Rhodes. He is, I know people, like, he's Dusty's kid. He's this company's version of Hulk Hogan, right? He's not going to lose a lot, but when he does lose, it is going to be a big deal. When Darby beat him, it was a big deal. And yet, he should have lost to a Go-Go. I understand that. I fully agree. I was live in the building. I felt the energy get sucked out of me when Cody won, because that was a weird match, especially the way they booked it and all this stuff.
Go-Go wasn't even ready for that spot.
He wasn't, but like, you understand.
That was just a mistake.
It was fine.
So,
but Cody and Malachi is going to be a lot of fun. Malachi got the best of him already. Cody is bringing all these people back. And I don't know, and Ant, tell me if this came across like this on TV, but it was very loud in the building when Cody came out. People were cheering.
It was massive.
That section went crazy.
It didn't pick up until, I guess, they turned the audio up and they touched and they started swinging. That was first off a great brawl. I'm always one for a good like barn burner brawl. They're hitting each other with beers. I'm here for that. I will say, like, I am a Cody Rhodes fan. I don't like that he puts himself over. I don't like the long-winded promos about American and all, like just be you, like, sell the fight.
Yeah.
When Cody Rhodes is fighting on a personal level, there's not a better promo in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Look at his promos against Dustin. Look at his promos against MJF, right? Look at all these promos and tell me that he's not a great salesman, right? He sold us AEW. He sold us all in.
Big
That's
match
what he
Cody,
did.
man. That's what he does. When you're in a match with Cody, it's a big feel.
He is, exactly. And everyone's like, well, yeah, he's just like Triple H. Yeah, let him be like Triple H, because when fucking Triple H steps in the ring, you know it's a big fight feel every single time. And that's what Cody Rhodes should be. It's not going to be the best match on the card, but it's going to sell it like it is the best match.
And before we get to Jackie, I think the people need to also remember is we had to start looking at these things logically. Arthur Ashe is the biggest show, fan number-wise, that AEW's ever done, right? 20-something thousand fans or whatever. Cody's going to be on that show. It is crazy to think he's not going to be on that show.
Yeah.
So, but Jackie, what do you think of Cody Rhodes? I don't know if you've ever really talked about it on the show.
So Cody Rhodes has never been my top guy when it comes to AEW, but he's always somebody that I have had a great deal of respect for in terms of what he knows his role and he plays it well. You know, yeah, were there a couple misses along the way in terms of like some of the promos that were, you know, a little more, you know, like, I guess you can argue that they were politically tone deaf.
It was the whole Go-Go feud. If we cancel that feud, I think we're fine.
Yeah, like, if we remove that, we're good.
Yeah, because his feud with Brody was awesome. His feud with Darby was awesome. His feud with
he sells like, you know, like nobody's business. There have been some promos where it's just like he blows the roof off of the place. He can talk like not many people can, and he is that poster child baby face. You know what I mean? So I like, you know, I don't have that problem with him that people do where they're like, oh, you know, he's just there to like self-serve and put himself over. No, he puts himself
Triple H beat Sting in Sting's WrestleMania debut. So that's going to happen when you're fucking booking and you're the owner and you can do what you want.
But I think that if that was the case, he could have booked himself as a winner a lot more than what he has. So
the thing that I respect is he said he's not challenging for the AEW championship, and he hasn't even sniffed it, right? After he made that pact where he lost, he hasn't even brought it up, right? It's, I can't challenge for this. And I think that was kind of a way to keep him grounded, where he's like, I'm cool with being a top mid-card guy and letting the stars shine. like almost like the gatekeeper. Like if you beat Cody, then you can get up to Omega and Danielson and Punk and Hangman and all those guys. But I can't see why people always shit on Cody. Yeah, his promos with a go-go. I am never a fan of American and anti-American. There's already enough fucking shit going on in the world where we're all split. Like it's such an old. I get it. It's pro wrestling. That's like one of pro wrestling's core values is like you have to be all American. It's like, well, we don't even have a problem with Britain. So what?
It's an outdated trope that doesn't ever need to be revisited.
We love the
again.
UK. Like I love the UK. I want to move there.
But that being said, the pop for Cody, he came out like I think maybe not even two sections away from where me and my family were sitting. My shout out to my 13-year-old nephew, Cody is his guy, and got to see him live for the first time. I've never seen a kid more freaking shocked in my life. But him coming through the crowd, I'm like, and even though people have primarily been behind Malachi Black, Cody got his pop. The two of them had their like major brawl throughout the arena, throughout, like the crowd and everything. They got, I don't know how much people sacrifice a lot for those beers because those beers are expensive, but people were willingly handing those over. So it's like, throw the beer at him or whatever. Fan participation out here. But yeah, even though it felt like the initial announcement for the match was a bit of a throwaway, I think that this segment that they did it served its purpose to hype up the match for Arthur Ashe.
I just hope, but you can't unless tonight we get like a surprise Cody promo. I want to know about the boot, right? I want to know, like, it sounds stupid.
No, we're gonna get it on Road 2. On Road 2 next week, leading up to it, we'll get an explanation of it. So Divine is saying in the chat, real quick. Divine saying in the chat, did we hear booze? So what I'm noticing with Cody is what you notice with a lot of older wrestlers in WWE. You get that pop, and it's like the initial booze of like, not a new guy. But then when they're like, let's go, when Cody does that, like, let's go in the crowd, people go ballistic every time. So, like, there might have been like, Cody's here. But it was more like, all right, let's go. He's here, but it's going to be a big feel. And also earlier, Divine saying that if Cody wins, it's going to kill Malachi's momentum. We got to remember, AEW is very different. People win or lose all the time. It doesn't kill anybody's momentum. Like Ant said, we can't make anybody unbeatable. Malachi's got to lose eventually. At least let it be to someone at the level of Cody.
It ain't going to be on the biggest stage that they've ever done. I can promise you that.
Could be, and even if it was, it's okay.
Because AEW is not tone deaf. They already know why people were booing Cody, right? They already know.
A go-go, though.
So because a go-go is different. You want a Ford Focus or you want a fucking Maserati? Because a go-go is a Ford Focus and Malachi Black's a Maserati. Yeah. That guy is everything you need. He's not going to lose. I can promise you Malachi Black's going to win unless he gets disqualified for beating him too bad.
That would be cool.
I'm excited for Road 2. But again, like if say I'm a casual, right? And Punk's brought me back and Danielson's brought me back. What is Road 2? You didn't talk what are you tell me about the boot? Show the video clip of the boot. Show me why Cody and Malachi are fighting.
They will,
but I need to know how to access that. That's just nitpicking. I know where to access it. I'm going to fucking watch it and be excited. But on your TV programs, you should be like, hey, here's a little video package. Cody, you can cut a part out from Road 2, have him cut the promo about what he was going to do with the boot.
Yeah, true.
And then, boom, promote the match that way. Because not everyone is going to watch all of your content when you have 2 internet shows, 2 TV shows, being the elite.
Yeah.
You have all this stuff, which we all love to consume.
Well, we'll see. We'll watch Rampage tonight because obviously
if I'm just getting into wrestling, though, it doesn't feel like a lot. And what was the Lapse fans' problem was there was too much content that wasn't good. Now, AEW's great content, and that's why it's going to keep skyrocketing. But sometimes it's too much content to consume. I can't keep up with it. I can't keep up with that. So I think one thing they could do better is just after that little scuffle, show a fucking 45-second little video on why it's happening at Arthur Ashe.
And then be like, hey, if you want to see the full version, watch our YouTube channel 6 p.m. Wednesdays.
And then tell me when the whole video is coming.
Good point. It's a good point.
Yeah. That's all.
Before we get out of here, I definitely want to make sure we talk about what's on everybody's, mind. So we're getting it. It's a
Cash Wheeler's
non-title match.
thighs.
Yeah,
Oh.
Cash Wheeler's thighs, baby. But we're getting this dream match we never thought was gonna happen, and it's non-title for people thinking that this might take away Hangman's moment, which I think is really great. We're getting Kenny Omega versus the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson at Arthur Ashe, the main event next week of Dynamite. Jackie, how are you feeling about this?
Oh my goodness. I speculated that this would happen at the Arthur Ashe show, and I was told by people who will remain nameless, no, it's too soon. This is not going to happen. I said they keep hinting at it. I feel like it's going to be a thing, and ding, 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 it's a freaking thing. So I love the fact that they went with a non-title approach because, yes, I am on Team Hangman all day.
Yep.
If we jump ahead a little bit, I would love for it to be Danielson versus Omega, have a banger match, and then boom, Hangman has his comeback moment, and then it's like, okay, now challenge for the title.
Yep.
But you have like, oh my God, like two people that have been considered for some time now, the greatest wrestlers of their generation, going head to head. And they didn't have to wait. People say it's too soon, it's too this, it's too that. No. Strike when the iron is hot. We're so used to this mentality of the slow burn, which yes, there's a time and a place for that. But if people are chomping at the bit for the damn match, give them the match. And with that many people in attendance and how much of a dream match situation this is, why not go for it and go all in? It's something that can be revisited. It's not going to be the last time they fight, but I'm just
There's
whole
still another feud to slow burn for, and that's who the real best in the world is. So there's plenty of dream matches, and I agree. You got to strike right now. You literally have more eyes on your product than ever.
I was gonna
so
say
I
that.
can see Divine. I can see what you're talking about. If he pins Omega, he pins the champ. Well, we know Omega's been playing a chicken shit heel, right? This is the first week Omega was kind of like, "Fuck you, Don. I'm doing this," which was cool to see. But he's been playing a chicken shit heel, surrounded by a bunch of chicken shit heels, surrounded by the biggest chicken shit heel in Don Callis. So it makes sense that Danielson can beat him. I love that they made it non-title. I hope Omega shocks us and beats Danielson in the ring, and the beatdown happens, and Hangman comes back. And that is how you close Arthur Ashe, because this is Hangman's title to win at Full Gear. And there's another trick up the sleeve too, which we're going to get to, because I think Full Gear is going to be a very special show, but we'll get into that. But I think you got to give this. It's the biggest stadium you've ever performed.
Yep.
You need a WrestleMania-like type main event.
Yep.
Nothing's gonna shake up the world. I know Punk and Omega is going to be up there. Then Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega.
But remember this
my eyes,
AEW
Danielson's
fan base.
a better wrestler.
Yes.
Danielson's a better wrestler than CM Punk.
But this AEW fan base, right, we're Ring of Honor fans. They're New Japan fans. They're, fans of wrestling outside of WWE. And in my opinion, there is no bigger match for Kenny Omega than fighting Bryan Danielson, for who, like CM Punk has said, is the best in the world. Like, that's his thing. That was his catchphrase. And it's like, if you want to really test how good of a wrestler you are, you wrestle Bryan Danielson. And Kenny Omega is viewed by a lot, including myself, as the best wrestler in the world. So let's prove it once and for all. Who is the best wrestler in the world? Not entertainer, not performer, not main eventer, wrestler. Who's the best wrestler? I couldn't be more excited about this match. I'm so happy we're getting it now. Like you guys said, this is the most viewers the company's ever had. The ratings are going up every single week on Dynamite. Rampage is iffy, right? Depending on what they give us. This week it should be
time slot.
It's a time slot,
but
it's
it
going
does.
up.
It does.
We're swinging with knockout punches now. We have the ammo. Go all in. Right, this is what the company does best. It's going to be a ton of fun. I cannot wait for Arthur Ashe.
Yeah, I just as a serious kind of side note to this, I think a big mistake that any of us had at the beginning of 2020 was thinking we had time. And, the world took a major turn. The company had to pivot in a million different directions to get around this pandemic and everything. So what's to say, we think like we have all this time to build up to a match. No, you have a show that's booked with 20,000 potential people in the audience, biggest show you're ever going to do. we don't know what's going to happen a month from now.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen 6 months from now.
Especially with
we
New
can't
York
pretend
closing down, having put restrictions up. There was fear that this show might get moved. So we're having it. Give us everything. Give us to us now.
Yeah, give us now that we have the forum, give it to us now, and we can continue to build on things in the future. But we can't go based on the assumption that we have the flexibility of time. If 2020 taught us anything, we know we don't have it.
Here's the thing I'm gonna say, and listen, how excited were we for Okada Omega? Yeah. How much more excited were we for Okada Omega 2?
Yeah.
How much more excited were we
for Okada Omega 3?
It doesn't have to be one and done.
Yes.
This could be the start of a long-term story where it's like they have different routes, but then maybe at All Out next year, Kenny Omega wants that win back.
Yeah.
And that, you know what I mean? Like, that's the beautiful thing about wrestling. That's the beautiful thing about AEW. They're going to listen to us. They're going to give us what we want. This is the most fun time I can remember being a wrestling fan. Tony Khan's now on fucking radio saying he has another trick, another ace up his sleeve.
Yep.
And we know Wyndham, let's call him Wyndham, Bray Wyatt is a free agent in literally a month. 1 month.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt's free. And
spooky time, spooky month.
Who besides him, unless it's someone like Kevin Owens, right? But Tony Khan used to get a lot of slack because he always said he had something up his sleeve. He's
delivered every single time. Matt Hardy, Brody Lee, Sting.
We all shit on him because Christian came out and we were all expecting.
But Christian has been incredible here.
But Christian has had an amazing run. But he delivered CM Punk. He delivered Malachi Black. He delivered Andrade.
Yep.
He delivered Bryan Danielson, and he delivered Adam Cole.
And Ruby Soho.
Guy says, if this guy has an ace up his sleeve, it's not going to be a little name. It's going to be something that continues to shake wrestling in the favor of the best company going, and that's All Elite Wrestling.
Yes.
So, guys, any final thoughts as we start to get out of here? Jackie, any final thoughts about Dynamite this week and everything that we have to look forward to next week?
It was great. I think it was an excellent card. I know some people complained that, they felt that, Nork took a bit of a hit because Arthur Ashe is such a major show. I'm going to just ignore that you guys are just doing this. Yes, it is Nork. Anyway, I'm trying to give my final thoughts. You guys are stepping on.
I just can't get over the fact that you call it Nork. It's Newark.
It's literally, if you lived in this area, I live one city over from Newark. Everybody calls it Nork. That's just I didn't create this. This is how it's said.
Eat my food with a fork. I call it pork roll.
All right, Jackie, finish your final thoughts.
Yeah, Mama POV is about to get the belt and start whooping ass because she's
like that.
Listen to her.
What if it's a weird kink?
Oh, and speaking of that, when Jade came out, I was like, "Step on Ant!" I screamed, "Step on Ant!"
Oh God, yes. Oh, step on me, God, yes.
Yo, so much.
Put your heel right here.
Final thoughts, man.
All right,
final thoughts with Jackie. Go.
Final thought is the card was excellent. I know people said it took a hit because of the Arthur Ashe show being so close, and they're building that up to be a more major show. I was satisfied with it. People need to stop complaining. It was great, start to finish. Even watching it back live on television. Being in that atmosphere, being with 15K people, sold out the Prudential Center, amazing night, and headed to Queens next week, baby. So I'll let you know how that goes too.
All right, Ant, let them know. Final thoughts.
Another amazing Dynamite where young talent was on display and talent that we knew was on display with a slow build and a fast build with the Bryan Danielson Omega to one of the biggest shows I think we'll see in AEW's history. It's one of the most important, especially live. 20,000 people, an amazing stadium that's never been ran before. This can be their New York. This could be their MSG. This could be Madison Square Garden to AEW. This is a really, really important show, and they're treating it as so. We have 4 hours of AEW content next week.
Yep, because they're taping a 2-hour Rampage afterwards.
Yep. So 4 hours of fun between Wednesday and Friday. It's an exciting time to be a fan. We're going to see Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. Let that sink in, digest it, and then mark the fuck out because if you told me 2 years ago that we would see Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson, I would call you a liar and say that would never happen because that guy's never going to leave that company. And here he is.
Here we go.
So
here we go. And of course, if you guys want to follow the show, you can follow us on Twitter at Elite POV. If you guys are listening on podcast platform, twitch.tv/Elite POV, where every week we go live and you get to see our faces. You get to be in the Twitch chat. Just be nice, all right? Don't get crazy like the person we had today. But listen, it's all good vibes. We always have a great live chat. You
listen,
get to be in there.
If you're going to get crazy, just realize that I don't give a fuck, okay?
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck in Newark.
I don't give a fuck because I'm from Nork.
Newark. All right? And you get to hang out with Mama POV in the chat and everybody else. Thank you guys for watching us. Jackie, let people know where they can follow you.
You can follow me on Twitter at LoveYouMake24.
Now, Ant, let them know where they can follow you and what you got going on this weekend.
You can follow me on Twitter at LoveYouJade24. Now, I am at Game of Ant, and tomorrow night we want to talk about a pay-per-view. We want to talk about the biggest show before Arthur Ashe. We're going to talk about GOW's Valhalla live on twitch.tv/Game of Ant, where I have the stars of tomorrow. A lot of people in chat. Jackie, Phil, they all have characters, and they're all putting their belts on the line at Valhalla tomorrow night. It's going to be an excellent show, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Come check it out. I'll probably be drunk, yelling, going crazy, but it's going to be one of my biggest shows of the year. So follow that. And Jackie did get us to 300 followers because she's the draw.
The draw.
So we're going to have another draw this weekend. So stay tuned for details about what you can win from Pro Wrestling Tees, even if it's for a Christmas present, because at this point, I don't think you're going to see a shirt for 4 months.
Yeah.
But make sure you follow. Tell your friends to follow the Twitch. We're probably going to broadcast a couple more times so we can just hit the affiliate level.
Yep.
And please tell your friends to come over here. Once we get to affiliate, it's going to be a lot more fun. We're working very hard on trying to think of stuff for Patreon. So if you have any suggestions, please DM us at our Twitter and tell us suggestions of what you want out of our Patreon. As you know, these shows take money. Production takes money. Everything takes money. And we don't have any money. So go buy some merch. Support us any way you can. But the best way to support us is to listen to us, share it with a friend, be active in chat. Don't be a douchebag. We love you guys. And that's it.
And yes, if you guys want to follow me, it's at Big Sith Energy on Twitter. And just, thank you guys for listening. And just remember, you don't need a hat to be a cowboy. See you guys next week.
POV time.
Quiet, so quiet.